Thank you for joining us. This is Dan Bishop of Bishop's Construction. Dan, we're talking about the 5 most common structural issues with roofs and attics. And we're going to start with saggy roof. What the heck? What gives?
Well, yeah, what gives? So with a saggy roof, generally what you have in a lot of the older structures, you'll have undersized rafters that just sagged over time. You didn't have enough rafters spaced properly.
Old building codes? In an old house?
Old building codes, if they had any at all. And in newer applications, sometimes the roofs weren't maintained and you had some rot. You had some water getting through over the years through the roof, so you have a general sag through it. If you have a truss roof, you generally should never have a sag in there, but if you have any low spots in there, it's from lack of maintenance, and then your roof sheeting gets rotten and it starts to...
If somebody has it, how do you fix it?
With any roof repair, you have to tear the roofing back.
Okay.
And expose all the wood. You'll see anything that's rotted immediately. And then sometimes you'll have issues where you just have a saggy roof and the roofing material looks good. You have to get up underneath from the inside and double up rafters because the rafters are undersized.
But you won't know for sure until you open up that roof and take a look.
Well, some of them are obvious from the outside where you can tell that the roof wasn't very well maintained. But in some cases, I'll get calls where people just put brand new shingles on, a brand new roof on, and it's got a sag in it.
That doesn't fix the sag, does it?
And the building department comes along and they go to get an okay, and they said, you're not going to get an okay on this roof sagging. And then I'll get up underneath and I'll say, okay, now we have to double up our rafters to have better roof support.
You mentioned we were talking about rafters and truss as well, and that's kind of the number 2 thing, the types of damage that happens to a truss and rafter. What are the types of damage that happens to them, and why does it happen?
I mean, almost all the time you'll have it from moisture. You got different types of roof leaks. You'll have rafters coming into valleys. You'll have trusses and actually trusses in the roof sheeting that weren't put together properly, and you had slate leaking over time. And then after a while, give it 10 years, you've got a rotten roof. You've got things that are just letting go.
Number 3, we're looking at roof decking delamination or rot.
Well, the big thing behind delamination is building materials. So. Back in the day when you sheeted roofs, everybody wanted to have plywood. Plywood was a good thing.
Okay.
Then they came out with OSB, oriented strand board, and people didn't think it was as good as plywood, but it actually is better than plywood because plywood delaminates. So as it gets a little bit moist, the glue starts letting go. The layers start popping apart, and that's no good. So you have to have the proper roof sheeting materials. When you put roofs together, you have to use things like H-clips when the rafters are spaced too far apart, extra support. I mean, there's all kinds of little things you got to look out for. But under that category, it's usually the material that's the big issue.
Okay, number 4, Dan, is leaking chimney chase structures. What is a chase structure?
Well, the chimney has, it's got your liner, it's got the inside of it, where you can have leaking from the flashing around the outside of the chimney where the roof attaches, or you can have leaking from the inside of the chimney down where the chimney's just deteriorated and falling apart. Those are all 2 big issues, again, with weather and rain.
Let me ask you regarding the flashing. Why does that happen? Is the flashing put in wrong typically? Is that why?
It's sometimes, there's some jobs that are done better than others. They all
Sure
look like they're
yeah.
good enough when a building inspector is looking, but a good flashing job will last decades.
Boy.
A bad flashing job will last weeks.
But is it typically, if you're noticing moisture, flashing might be the first thing to check out?
Flashing would be the first.
Lastly, one of the 5 structural issues that tend to hit roof and attics, the attic joist reinforcement. Let's talk about that.
Well, when you have to reinforce a roof that isn't damaged from the outside, or you can't detect any leaks, but you have that saggy roof, then you have to find a way to get up into the roof. Sometimes we'll open up a ridge vent, slide new rafters right in through the ridge vent.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then double them up so it takes that sag out.
And by doing that, you don't have to open up the roof to do it, to get the joist down there? Okay.
Correct. And then sometimes if the roof's rotten from the outside, then you strip the roof up and you get to it from the outside. It can be easier that way.
Well, it's great to know that there is a solution if it's not from the outside, boom, you can may not have to.
I've seen companies come in and tear up perfectly good roofs,
and they didn't need to
do that, and they didn't need to. So joist replacement, rafter replacement. Sometimes we'll get up into an old roof that doesn't have trusses. It's got old rafters, and we can put in bracing down to a wood ceiling that's somewhat the same as a truss, so give it extra strength, extra support. So there's a lot of ways to brace and reinforce a roof without just getting trusses or just doubling up rafters. So there's a lot of options.
And it starts with finding the right guy to take a look at your roof if you do have problems. And Dan might be a good because
it might help.
Yeah, because he's gonna use his experience of how can we do this, and there is no cookie cutter way, and you don't have to just peel up on a roof immediately.
No, absolutely not.
Oh, all right.
And it's really good to also know how building inspectors work and think, so that when you're doing any kind of a repair, you know what's right and you know what's wrong.
Great. Well, Dan, thanks so much for sharing that with us.
You're welcome.